Hello, young legion. Separating kids from families is bad. I'm not condoning that all anyway. At the same time, the same people doing that here, excuse me, originally and still we have that here. Per a method that is fluent through our nations, a racketeering method that came from semi-ancient times. See suits and ties. It's just your mind. See correlations, course. They have passions and emotions maintained. This is human trafficking roles with our interbranch. Now, this is, for example, where they say they have good reasons for separating children from family, but for example, they don't realize all the human trafficking roles of two Mendez police, of two Domain police on off Fox Connecticut News, uses of downtown Hartford with the ones from Interbranch Weathersfield on off the state judicial branch offices, on off the state prison offices, involved with overt transnational gangs, racketeering, juxtapose private originally. You can't defend that and us at the same time. We have to though, because overall active and inherently originally and still they have again worse than you can, not just that you can't defend that and us and the service value of the Constitution, claim sub pretend sub they have to pretend sub rosa is not criminally foreign influence. We have breaching screens here and there. For example, with psychology tied to justice, tied to cases already, all kind of fact treatment. Not by accident, victim predators value time always too fast, too slow. So they say they have good reasons for separating families. I know these there's a Janito Mendez and Eric Mendez recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with courts with racketeering inside and outside of the Britain Superior Court and with the Weathersfield Police Department. Now, this is how they have the branches individually grouped and together or involved with racketeering, with overt criminal enterprises, private ones originally and still, and military, foreign and domestic. Now, this is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how they have the various natures of departments at CCSU involved with racketeering. Use is also of prosecutors of their kids and of their police interbranch, not just police with the executive branch. These are police interbranch retired and standing involved with human trafficking. Now, for example, involved with child sex offenders, medical offenders roles with that. Those people with crimes with their patients and criminals before they go into the courts and prisons, not by accident. Those people already were involved with racketeering with them, with a principal sex offenders campus, for example, as people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with that, with racketeering with other people on the sex offenders registry with their family members, had nothing to do with that. And what brought it up, they know they're hiding lies about and criminal uses of Facebook interbranch, individually grouped and together, racketeering roles and roles with racketeering methods like mail crime roles, wire crime roles, where they lie about what's actually recorded over police for conversations. Then they're pretending identity of jobs as FBI, for example, and now they have opinions with passions and emotions again. This is we're learn passions and emotions have a course that is not being let demonstrate free speech, which has obligations inherently, actively, and progressively to have sequence true. And to have sequence, there are two semi natures of sequence also. In other words, even though the past is gone, it's a relevant thing we have control of with our active, and that has inseparable. We have control of it because that one identity of value progression, which is the identity of relationship to itself. We don't have to agree on the name of it. It's the value of it, which is going to cause further positive or negative value nature progressions, acts and natures. So it's going to be so evolution is fruits and gifts, so they're lost leaf of IDs, force, space, nature, transfer. Now, see, but this is for a value nature system that all value nature systems can't help being. and demonstration of it. So we have that self-value. Now, this is also values course. Everyone's talking about, oh, and well, we just have to forget the perfect world. That's what I'm trying to say. Recorded and demonstrated and confessed. Former director of FBI Robert Luskin, for example, he's one of the people involved with other agencies too, and with sequence shifts and with uses of that phrase, the perfect world, with the human trafficking. And this is also with the wire crime methods that, again, Interbranch are already involved with. So what do they have to do? Lie about, hide from mandated law, steal people's identities, value that. Value means to having done that. They have crime methods through little kids. This is also tied to how they kept and keep originally and still areas criminally foreign influenced, victim predators of what is from off campuses maintained on off campuses in layers, on off every database relationship already in layers. Roles with those jobs, identities of jobs abridged, perfect world again, forsaken. Now these are sensibilities speaking through people, others with information from what they call the intelligence community here and there, in collusion with what its identity of the ground relationship, for example, to zoning laws involved with the fact, treatment, nature, torture, and slavery of our founders. Now we have passions and emotions interbranch with the identity thefts. We have people forging, switching names, like New Britain Superior Court recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that they're involved with child sex offenders. For other women judges, even women prosecutors, women states attorneys, they're a nature of volume, forging names and switching names as criminal incestuous nature self-value with criminal uses of statutes, criminal uses of CNN sources, on and off CCSU through time, again, intercities involved with other UConn, Trinity College, on and off these locations involved with people with racketeering, also with military, foreign and domestic, originally and still. Connecticut was a key role with what led us into World War One. What George Washington had to leave with overt slavery in Connecticut was a key role with what led us into World War One too. Right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, George Washington had to come here. Now there are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated houses all along that street involved with racketeering with a house/S tied to a Cololo family that came in when I was in fourth grade. Same grade, but never had a class in grammar school or middle school. We had a summer school class that is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with doctors involved with a whole bunch of natures of racketeering juxtaposed. And them forging names, switching names, pretending they had conversations with me now as an adult, and they did so when I was a kid behind my back, which again is tied to the natures and roles and motivations actually recorded for the interbranch with the human trafficking. They've been attaching little kids and their families to fake locations through time. WFSP attached me and my families to fake locations after they're already recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering interbranch leading up to and in a 2006 case in Connecticut. As people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with them racketeering leading up to and then in the Trade Center attack from Connecticut. And tied to racketeering uses of the inside outside of the Ninth Circuit and of locations around the Trade Center, which that's right next to it, which is a panel of judges. They showed post-dated documents still. And then that proven led to a 2006 case with former director of the FBI Robert Luskin and his lawyer Robert Chevrier, which is down the street in Hartford from the Harriet Beecher Stowe Mark Twain House. Now, a whole bunch of people from my town went into agencies and plea forms or whatever like that, undercover, whatever. But they're also involved with racketeering with the various natures of gangs, intercities, because they also have recorded intercities defenses of identities of the law. Again, quoting statutes, things like that. Relationship that have shared policing that keeps this the outcome because it needs them to value that here and there. Fake sides. We have military police families that were in collusion with uses of attaching Saudis to with their roles with uses of theater with the identity of the ground, like with the locations on and off CCSU, involved with like foreign and domestic, private shared. Again, you can't defend the private and us at the same time. That what justifies that is a quality of fact treatment nature style of liar that can't stand free speech outside of courts. So when people speak like online, they have Facebook recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with juxtaposed sexual, medical, and interbranch human trafficking acts. And they spread these are drug clips interbranch with doctors like a Leahy family, a Lombardo family, all recorded, confessed, demonstrated involved with racketeering with my area, with houses that were involved with database racketeering, like with a former mayor Gold, a whole bunch of people tied to the person who came in my area. So they need to pretend to perceive things. Now, this is how they've been using databases for like two Mendez police involved with inside and outside New Britain Superior Court, Wethersfield police officers, with even women doctors involved with human trafficking with this game where they have the identity of the laws. They were growing up involved with database racketeering, drugs, crimes with the schools, involving the police that are against it. They're using that to keep what everyone missed because everyone just went for jobs because everyone's a victim. That value was made to value the Constitution abridged. So for example, if you allow free speech in science, it's going to show the answers how to do it, how to afford, you know, counter to a tactically denatured um, substrate. Now that nature itself will demonstrate is not its system with negative value nature progressions action natures. So we have plastic floating at the sea because of this, because we're our quality of fact cheap in nature. So we have the counters to that, furthering leveraging individual discernment of individual ability to defend finite truth as positives. Of course, where positive. Now, so this is important. Positive semi-natures that are complete too. The same way we have each person's complete identity, simultaneously a semi-nature relationship, sex, area, age, simultaneously a semi-nature relationship to the species body of value. Because we're this trinity, this body of value we are has a value/value nature relationship to itself, which is where we are, where and how we are that semi-nature, not just in relationship to other Earth's 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 distinction from the rest of the planets is not just its physical difference. It's our difference of relationship to the one complete identity's complete relationship to itself. Now, see this system, and they knew what's all formal suits and ties, campus Marxist republic that was revealed before criminally foreign influence sciences. They knew the victims they could make. They knew the negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures they can make and juxtapose. They tactically degraded human relations. But before they did it by tactically degrading the value of the long words to what is beyond our control, which is why we all need water clear in demonstration of this, which is why we all need carbon monoxide, oxygen as positive and negative working together to allow one complete nature, the phenomenon of its simultaneous natures, simultaneous nature of itself, which will only allow positive value nature progressions, acts in nature, the fruits and gifts of evolution, that which Santa's, the Santa Claus, Santa's greatest gifts could only point, could only guide to. This is the method to reveal evolution real. This is the method to reveal it, not to the hands. Like if Facebook is involved with racketeering, with they're being influenced to it, they already were. Then they were made to self-value it, so it's all juxtaposed. Also, we need litigation, but all the various natures of courts individually together and grouped. All the individuals of each court individually together and grouped. It is recorded how originally and still, there and here and everywhere, modern nations are an identity of negative value nature progression. So they have physical delusions juxtaposed. So they claim other people do, but they're forging names. They're needing to forge names, switch names, steal people's identity, value that having been done already offensively to keep originally still. You can't defend roles with what they are and do, and why they say that's needed, not by accident at the same time. So we have states and areas maintain styles of liars pretending other, for example, physical delusions regarding the process of justice, consciously criminally knowing that the judicial branch is preventing mandated law by as themselves criminally foreign influence, also the other branches. And also all that was juxtaposed as that as a tool, breaching screen, weapon, worse tool since before our founders were born. That method was involved here. They took over what is manifest before the branches of government, as they present them to you, were value. The ancients revealed the republic, the executive branch, the republic. I mean the judicial branch. They revealed these values. They revealed. There are proofs that they revealed. Most probable, even they revealed Latin and English. English needs Latin because the languages have a bond. The sounds have a bond. And they revealed that we need statutes also to get more freedom of speech, because we don't have freedom of speech and we have people pretending other, again, breaching screen and tool, each branch of government individually grouped together. So they're involved worse than extortion. But see, we're not even that's evidence how they're forging names and switching names and how they have been originally and still pretending not to realize that they're preventing free speech because they're lying about their. If you try to talk to them, they know that they're indifferent to attaching people to fake words, lying about their behavior, valuing how they've been doing that against little kids since they were kids, and all exceptions are tied to it. That's why you have to understand the Wethersfield police chief's family, foreign and domestic, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how the other kids were involved with principal sex offenders campus, also with the interpolicing of other schools and houses next to the schools, how they were manifest in relationship to the intelligence community, again, filtered through and as racketeering tool. So we have election spots, and these are also people involved with racketeering with Russians, with houses around the Samuel Dix house, with houses around church, with houses on Church Street. Again, interbranch. They're needed to sequence shift. They needed to just from the background rely on those forged names and switch names and threats and tortures of women and of kids through time. I just remind. Former director of the FBI down. Eugenio Mendez, Weathersfield police chief, all recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by themselves and others. I never had a conversation with Eugenio Mendez in my life. I only know who he is because they had him walk by me like one time, smile. And this is because they're doing a sustained racketeering method tied to he's involved with racketeering on and off Fox Connecticut News and the buildings next to them with what they call the intelligence community, foreign and domestic, involved racketeering with journalism too. Journalists recorded, uh, using the crime method of pretending to be about freedom of press, but they're really hiding their roles with human trafficking. See how they attach me and my family and little kids to fake locations, fake words, fake ties to others. Whole bunch of people on off the state judicial branch office. So also with the Dillon family, a Kerr family, forging names. I don't even know if that. So how do you know that if that's the person really Kerr online? Because when I was a kid, the Britain Superior Court also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they have racketeering roles with a Kerr family that also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that. They also say other into records after others actually recorded. So these are also racketeering uses of each of the departments of CCSU and of people on off Church Street in Old Weathersfield. People I don't know at all, like a Joshua Julian, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering uses of Facebook with interbranch child sex offenders, medical offenders, drug clicks, and identity theft clicks. That's the value of the courts we have. People on off the state judicial branch offices, a Faenza family. Now these are people also with the timed ad placements on TV, internetworks. So they keep the network. This is worse than extortion again. This is worse than we have a breaching screen to the racketeering method roles that our founders left us to purge. So on my search. So what they do, they keep everyone making impressions about people and not letting people report sequence shifts that reveal. So we have people using the right to lie because of their shared policing with stores. We have Kohl's in Rocky Hill. I don't know. They don't. No one understands that we have Town Line Drive on and off that, on and off the Stop and Shops, all of them, all along that route by the state judicial branch offices, involved with people with racketeering on and off Church Street, and with child offenders, and with as people involved with Yukon racketeering, on and off Yale College racketeering, connected on and off Trinity College, on and off CCSU through time, connected to the child campuses and the method that's on and off it, first from off it, original and still, the quality of education's value, the, the worth of that by what is timeless worth, and passions and emotions by its course. See, time was used always too fast, too slow to hurt everyone. So the branch of government, everyone's not by accident, need to dream the American dream. The American dream, it has a destination that is native pure or gone to not return. Vaccine tells us things the sciences share an identity, and yin yang will not part. And what is greater than it? Another nature of invisible, but still discernible. Every word, everything, every physical thing we talk about, we're speaking about it's invisible but still discernible, valuable. And this is the value, and this is how the ancients taught and understood life. They knew how to reveal evolution's fruits and means by using what reveals it really, what revealed us really. Not some guy invented it, not some corporation. Cooperation to its course. What leads Campus Martius, the ancient gaming system, because the republic's broke and gone. Boxing's your song. Boxing tells us things, behold. The Skyline's volume only fills, it lifts and gifts or goals. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/Romulus Wall. Now here's species. I'll do another quick video. What we can do. So we because we have to understand how each position of the fact, treatment, nature simultaneously, distinctly and non-distinctly is a victim. And you have to see what can't allow that free speech to demonstrate that. They already use statutes having valued the exceptions to them exploited. And that was already, in other words, each identity of each branch never had anything, integrity to be anything else than as styles of liars, valuing each age of correlation, nature simple, but just extensive means to connect, revelations, to connect proper answers to questions. Like, how can people leave people forsaken? What they call poverty. They call it poverty because they trick people to be victims, to react wrong. Now, they don't realize this is a fact treatment nature racketeering. This is, again, worse than torture, worse than slavery, worse than extortion. I mean, it's worse than extortion. Well, they want to debate the slavery out of sequence, for example. They want to keep reparations as, like, in other words, instead of letting reliefs be the word, injunctive reliefs. Because then this would, if we have injunctive reliefs first, now we're not, in other words, the suburbs were designed tactically denatured relationship to nature to cause negative value nature progressions, let alone nothing justifies. You could have money in that context. We need simultaneous reliefs, and that's where, it's these are geographical logistical roles with that torture designed to have maintained self-valued positives actual course, self-valued worse than obfuscated, which is very simple. It's sequence true, one nature of sequence before, which is a complete value, simultaneously semi though. The order to the inherent, which is simultaneously complete value, but it's semi again, simultaneously in relationship to the identity that is also where our active value is complete value. The past is gone, but it has a connection to our to the quality we have here. Now here's words like quality. This is what, if you wanted to have quality, they have the integrity of words individually grouped in together, maintain self-value, and the sensibilities you already used as truths, as the worth of the identities of science, the identities of experts. See, correlation's course is pure and true. She's better than their radar, right on through. See, radar is like in physics, you can see through the physics. With correlation nature, identity nature does this. See, so the intelligence community, they recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, especially if they made it up on CNN. The Russian spy den, they use that phrase. So I believe all the news they now that's just one nation of hundreds of nations involved with psychology where they have this logic's actual course, worse than obfuscated. And then they have recorded, confessed, and they're in collusion with them. They're pretending I have conspiracy theories. To their evidences are looking into databases that have people that attach me to involved with the human trafficking, involved with a whole bunch of drug clicks into branch, also with WFSB with human trafficking, sequence shifts with federal criminal co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, and people on off his lawyer's office in that area involved with racketeering with the same house slash SMI area involved with recorded further natures of racketeering with seemingly unconnected child sex offenders, families. Now, these are also people, again, involved with racketeering. When you see what happened, that's why they invested all those problems, like with the union and the timing of it, with Stop and Shops. That's also with the, like, there's a Brian Bonin recorded, confessed, and demonstrated his neighbors and a Brian Bonin recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering also with these people on off the state judicial branch offices all along that route. Now, people associated with a whole bunch of police said that the owners of and like foreign and domestic are associated with racketeering with uses of Arch Pizza. I don't know who they are, and these are the and their racketeering uses of identities of jobs, time treatment. Everyone wants to speak through other people's and people in relationship to this. So you can't call up the police and make and counter their roles with tied untimely deaths. Note one on Trinity College, real or made up, especially made up. That is also involved with other natures of racketeering uses of them there too, because this is right through administrations against whoever wins too, while they're helping them too, because both parties are helped and they're only allowed to be, the perfect world forsaken and exploited that way, not by accident. They're to the maintenance of narratives and roles with gangs and stuff like that for methods originally still used to keep who might who might take a science class and start going, for example, and start learning about things to help humanity. Instead, they're gonna have fake doing that. They're gonna have who's looking to get over on humanity stayed there. You know, these are all kinds of bonded crime methods bonded because they have the nature, they have the nature of volume of each age of stewards of each age of schools. For example, we have the educational department that works with the intelligence community, that works with retired and standing interbranch, but they're involved with racketeering with the already uses of those identity ground locations. So they're valuing that which already still has to value what that never went away. The racketeering method that's here and there. Modern nations, you know, each position of the human fact should be that you're forced to value naive convictions, naive quality of fact treatment nature convictions that can't defend themselves and afford realized all that is realizable by realizing the simultaneous value of sequence true a priority sequence, I guess. They put the debatable up first. We have to just focus on actually recorded uses of Facebook online policing, inter platforms too. It's not just Facebook. That's what shows it too. They have the WFSB where they took a picture of me from Weathersfield Police, where they lied about wire crime, mail crime rolls, and uses of how their uses of people with the intelligence community manifest with Washington D.C. Trade Center attack, Trade Center and Trade Center attack tied rolls with what is manifest into their campuses that maintains from off the campuses like UConn and CCSU rolls with what criminally used on and off Trinity College with the former director Luskin and his roles with the tied untimely deaths and with the child sex offenders with the Weathersfield police chief's daughter's school with the principal sex offender and how they were using that with these Mendez police and people with that with New Britain Superior Court that recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that a Kerr family, and then Officer Jerry Miller. Also, they confirmed also an Officer Jerry Miller is involved with them with racketeering uses of houses in my area, with fire departments, also with foreign and domestic racketeering roles with overt criminal enterprises and with the stewards of the Witness Protection Program. These are also people with foreign and domestic military involved with racketeering uses of CCSU and of Yukon clicks and of all that leading up to in the Trade Center attack context, leading up to in the 2006 case, district case in Connecticut. So that's also recorded on Meadowgate. There's a Kerr family that is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with whatever the judge. There are retired and standing judges and people who work for prisons. And there's a Demore family. I think it's Valley Crest, and his neighbors are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also military racketeering. I don't know other names, but this is also all along Walcott Hill Road. These are also all other people recorded, confessed, demonstrated involved racketeering with uses of Church Street houses and families, all with the ones with the house slash S in my area involved as further child crimes into campuses. Now, so we need to have them respond in writing. They wouldn't let me get anything in writing since I was a kid. That's part of their crime method. They're pretending I had relationships to kids when I was a kid I had nothing to do with. They didn't even go to my school. They even had one person go. They have it like super. Like first, they had Chris Walters. He came into my middle school class one time from a school next to it, from like a church, which they also use as a school. Now he's involved with recorded, confessed, and demonstrated Washington D.C. Pentagon Trade Center racketeering with this Kerr family, and there's also NASA family reportedly too. These are people I don't know. I want to speak to other people, and they're involved with mail crime, wire crimes, with as Trade Center racketeering roles, because the WFSB also has racketeering leading up to and in a 2006 Connecticut case, as the roles also leading up to and in the Trade Center attack, with people all along that route and on off their location, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they act things so they can pretend to perceive things in conjunction with where and how they're racketeering, preventing writing, forging names, switching names, falsifying police reports and stacking that in databases and threatening and torturing people not to say anything about it. These are also people with Sandy Hook, Newtown involved with the racketeering, with even women judges involved with child sex offenders, medical offenders, in collusion with them and with their patients and criminals before they're caught. They also recorded framing people for what they did, like harassment. They charge people for harassment in conjunction when they're trying to counter. And these are also mass behavior racketeering roles. They're lying about the substance of people's behavior, and they're criminally pretending that courts are going to be able to solve this when we're not giving their names. They're preventing mandated law. They're forging, switching names in conjunction with their simultaneously criminally being having been and being exploited wire crime methods and mail crime methods and identity racketeering, identity thefts, valuing themselves through time and others since before since they were kids, using them attaching other kids to fake locations, fake words. Now they also sustain a racket. They also sustain abuse of little boys and girls that need to, they're not the adults. And so we have again emotions and passions being used by child offenders of juxtaposed natures. So if it was just a mistakes, they would just respond, say, "Hey, you know, sorry, we didn't mean to partake with using Facebook for all these natures of bad things that brought up also our roles with sexual offenders and with these medical offenders tied to the Mendez police. See, now by having connected racketeering uses of all that's formal and retired interbranch and on off locations needed to they keep them needing to hide the same personal grouped and together uses of identity for their safety in relationship to we're factory and where their identity is worthless. So please follow mandated law. Have the judges pick one name and sequence and put it on paper, and also have WFSB say sorry to the parents intercities because this is not just Weathersfield schools. That's where we need to start, but it's also further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated on and off the other campuses in town involved with the racketeering. That's also intercities again from the adult campuses involved with it through time. Now these are people also involved with the intelligence community and foreign and domestic police and overt criminal enterprises and private ones recorded in collusion with uses of and military, foreign and domestic, with uses of Lena's Pizza and locations next to it, also has medical racketeering roles and families and uses of our victims by victim predators, long predators. So they want they want to debate things only capable of it after self-valued recorded database racketeering that begins with the grammar school because they know that they're getting off where the perception and the sequence nature of how really people are going to communicate, where and as and how people are going to hide things back, and that steers the conversation. And in other words, they're keeping criminally foreign influence states and areas and database relationship ties. All rise.